We've all been through craziness. And I mean, as much as I learned from 2020, I'm ready for 2020 to straight go to hell and bring on 2021. If we continuously use the prism of red or blue to justify our actions, our inactions, our natural bias, or our own opinions, instead of using the premise of right or wrong, we are all screwed. Welcome to the Now or Never podcast, all things entrepreneurship. People who just take life by the horns, kick it square in the ass. My special guest, Cody Guffey, one of my beautiful co-hosts, Mr. Rexius.
Hey.
Anyways,
Don't
yeah.
steal my...
I had to, because I got to. Anyways,
I'm just excited to see that in person.
Hey.
So a lot of you guys have seen Cody on the podcast the last 2 years, year and a half as we've been doing it. But a lot has changed since we ended season 2 into season 3.0. Cody, full-fledged entrepreneur, now the newest owner of Rexius Nutrition West Dodge, franchise Rexius store. Killing it, straight killing it, doing an awesome job since in December, right? First week of December?
Mm-hmm. Yep, December 1st.
So I just going from, I mean, granted you had experience in the business before, obviously working at corporate, but tell me the biggest changes, like your first couple weeks when you went into your own shop.
I would say the first couple weeks, the biggest thing was is this cool feeling of knowing like it's you.
Yeah.
Like it's your show now. Like
Mine.
Yeah, you always like said it's different when you own it, and like no truer words. Like it's so different when you own it. You'll put in a lot of hours. You'll do all these things. It doesn't matter. But then it's learning like vendors and like how to deal with them. Where I was lucky, and we've witnessed with other franchisees, when I was at corporate working with franchisees, is vendors have a high habit of trying to take advantage of people.
Oh yeah, big time.
They want you to bring in their whole line because they have the greatest pre-workout ever made.
I
actually legitimately, so I was used to dealing with that, and I was used to dealing with vendors. All of a sudden, I become a franchisee, and they try pulling their stuff on me. I'm like, I'm still the same person that was at corporate. Like, this hasn't changed. So, like, they're trying to pull that stuff on me, shut them down. I even said, this one guy literally hit me with that, greatest pre-workout ever made. I go, you're roughly the 4th vendor today to tell me that. So either you hit a gold mine or you're also a liar. So he kind of changed his tune real quick after that one. He's like, yeah, you're right. A lot of people do say that. I was like, right. So let's talk formulations. So, you start getting stuff like that. But it really was just, granted, I had the experience coming from corporate, so like I had that base, but it was just understanding like, okay, it's you. So how am I going to make this work? And becoming a business owner is really what it comes, like QuickBooks and stuff like that. And as I just had to pay my quarterly sales tax and figuring all that stuff out and how to do things like that. So you learn the insides of business is really what it comes down to. That was the biggest difference.
Oh, I mean, that's it. You called us a couple nights ago dealing with the quarterly sales tax, and
I was overthinking it.
He was, and he's like, your wife drew this out for me, and I'm like, I don't get what she drew out either. Here's what I do, and I remember I was like, oh my god, like what the hell is this? And you're so scared to screw it up because it's government,
Yes.
Yeah.
and
that was exactly why I was worried.
And let's be perfectly honest, the people who, I'm sure they're fine people who work at the Department of Revenue. I don't think that they ever were allowed to have puppies or were hugged as children. So they're
It takes a special breed, man.
Takes a special breed. And we're usually we're obnoxiously nice to them, because I'm sure they get yelled at a lot, but I'm like who wrote your directions? Like, do they hate people? Do they just walk around like kicking kittens? I mean, like, what's wrong with these people? It is one of those things, and I think it's a lot of, her and I, we've talked about with all the new stores is like really like, okay, we're there. Like, we're the ones you can call because, yes, I'm going to make fun of you, but it's going to be in all good fun, and we're going to get through it and work it through versus trying to call somebody an 800 number who's going to be an asshole, for lack of a better term. And that was always my fear. And I had a really great original investor and a bookkeeper who really just kind of taught me step by step 11 years ago, because 5 years of business school didn't prepare me for shit. I mean, I didn't use 1% of what I got my degree in at all when it came to actually running a business, because it's all theories in business school. It's, widget X minus widget Y equals this. I'm like, who gives a fuck about widgets? Like, tell me how to make money, and then once you get to it. And I'm also curious to, like, and you got to talk to me a lot, obviously, through corporate. Like, when I'm always talking, okay, it's, we want a good product.
Yeah.
We want something that brings an advantageous position. I want to make money. And it was always funny because it's usually with the younger employees. I didn't get this view so much, but bring in this brand. It's got this this model or this Instagram influencer is recommending it. I go, I don't make shit on that. Like, I do have to pay you. How has that changed for you going from now the purchasing aspect?
It's that, like, understanding, like, I've had, customers come in, and we had it at corporate too, but like, you get the customers that come in and they buy off like what they see online and stuff like that, the influencers, which, that's what influencers are there for. So they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Man, you should really bring this in. Knowing that, like, it's not a special formula, it's not anything, it's just solid marketing, which I'll give them that, but like, I'm not going to bring that in when it comes to margins. You just start to understand margins anymore. I was lucky because you taught me on that inside look at margins, stuff like that, so I always knew these things. So even like dealing with employees when I was at corporate, I would have to shut before they're even able to make it to you. I would have to shut them down because I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't work because this margin, which leads to this, which doesn't make any sense. That being said, there's certain products that you bring in that you have to understand that it's going to get them in the door. So I have a few like vitamins in my store that, they're top of the line and the margins aren't the greatest in the world, but I know they're going to draw a niche market. Yeah. So I'm willing to make that sacrifice there, knowing that that's going to get this group in, but you got to like limit how many things you can do that. Because if I do that across the board, well, then why do I have a store? Because I'm not going to make anything.
Well,
we're just going to spin my wheels.
And you got to do it, especially in the beginning, in a newer location. Because we've been in the metro for a while, but it's a new location, it's a new area, and you still have. There's a lot of people who just wouldn't take the jaunt, down 2 miles to see the other shop. They want to stay in their neighborhood. And I said this for years. I carried things like C4 in my store, hoping that it would sit there long enough it would expire because I talked people out of buying the shit. But if I didn't have it, I was only talking smack because I didn't have it. And so I did that for the first, I'll say 6 or 7 years. I carried things like Gold Standard Whey Protein. Yes, it's dog shit. ISO 100. Yes, it's dog shit. C4. My mom is 70 years old, 65 years old. Sorry, Mom. Ooh, she takes it before jazzercise. Yeah, boys, you're not getting brotastic on the C4. Seriously. But I had to have it to make a comparative analysis, look at the ingredient panel and say, here's why we do it. And literally, it was 4 orders in a row over 3 years where we threw away 75% of the C4 we bought. And Shane, of course, being Shane, being like, we're wasting money here. I said, I know, but all the people I've got off that Walmart garbage into something worth of shit, it's worth it. It's no different than if I put that money into advertising and just threw it away. Yeah. I got the chance to do it in person.
It's just understanding the big picture. Like, for instance, when I opened it, my biggest thing was, and it was a huge, and it's still to this moment, like, is the most important thing to me is like, yes, am I Rexius Nutrition? Yes, am I Cody from corporate? But I needed to separate myself, which is why I was very, like, I had to clear out the stuff that was already there that I didn't want.
Yeah.
It was fine. Get through that. And then it was bringing in my things, stuff that made me individual, stuff that, like, made me different. Changed the logo. We changed stuff like that. Like, when I bought it, we made the discussion, we need to change the name.
I had to change it.
It had to change the name. It needed to be different.
Yeah.
So, and now it's always been my biggest thing is, like, it needs, yes, we're Rexius, yes, we like work together and work off of each other, especially being in Omaha Metro, but it still needs to be me. It has to have my vibe to it. It has to have my touch on it, things I look for, things that I like, as opposed to just like, oh, here's this cool caffeine bomb pre-workout. There's a lot of people like, oh, hey, I really like this one. And then I explain to them why I don't carry it anymore. And they're like, oh, that makes sense. So it's still just educating people and stuff like that, but still making it my own. Yeah. So I had to, especially being this close to corporate and being from corporate, I really had to draw that line and really make it that way.
Yeah, and honestly, I had
not like a negative manner by anything.
I had that with the franchise attorneys this last year as we're doing our update, and every year we have to do this. For any of you guys out there ever interested in being a franchisor, don't. I love it, but it is an expensive ass process, and the fees only continuously increase. I think this year's update cost me like $15,000 just to update my books. And if you want to stay, you have to do it every year, whether you sell new franchises or not. It's a very expensive undertaking. That's just the maintenance. Plus, the state of California needed a $700 check. The state of Minnesota needed a $500 check. South Dakota, $400. Like, it's just all these things. But anyways, I digress. And they said, well, people are certain to change the logo. Does that bother you? No. I said, it used to. I kind of had a thing with it in the bag. It says, as long as the logo on the outside of the store is the same, so people know what they're walking into, we're good. I said, it's just like I grew up Catholic, right? And there was always their claim to fame that Mass was Mass. Whether you're in, Norfolk, Nebraska, or freaking Bolivia, you may not understand the language, but you know the whole thing that's going on because it's the same everywhere, right? Yeah. And I always thought that was kind of funny. And I'm like, okay, at least this way, they're going to walk into a different atmosphere. They're going to walk into a different, but the core values are the same.
Yeah.
And the name is so different. Rexius, it's not like general nutrition, complete nutrition, total nutrition. I mean, my God, guys, come on, have some imagination. It's Rexius, which, if you can spell it, we're good. And the name has the brand. So whether the logo changes or not, and I told them, like, no. I mean, because a lot of brands have, you can't do that. And I never put that anywhere in there at all. I only trademarked the name. I mean, that was the whole thing. And next thing you know, it's somebody's using the Rexius name to sell.
So just for your information, not that you care, but my GPS says Rexius.
God damn it.
Yeah. My Apple GPS, it'll say Rexius or Rexius.
As long as I spell it right, I'm good. I had people come in.
That's the French store.
It's the French. It's the French version. It's the French. It's our
I was really surprised when I heard that. I was like, I'm not going to Rexius or Rexius. I'm like, what is it?
It's the knockoff.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. I think at this point, we have more hashtags on Instagram under Rexius Army than Rexius Nutrition, which is cool. I mean, for you guys who don't follow, look at Rexius Army hashtag on Instagram, and it's 20-some thousand deep, and started by one of my part-time employees like 9 years ago because he was pissed at another store here locally that was doing something. I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't really pay attention to hashtags. I'm old, but it's kind of cool that way, and it's given the brand more legitimacy. It's just based on the name. And so when we're opening in Hot Springs, Arkansas next week, it's already got a thing because the social media makes it fantastic. It's already got a huge following. And Council Bluffs, same thing. And they were asking us because they're close enough to the metro, and they open in 2 weeks. And they're like, how do we differentiate? I go, it's you guys, your personality. Make it about you. You're an intangible asset of the business. This is not a business you can just throw some moron behind the counter. That's why GNC's bankrupt. That's why Complete Nutrition's bankrupt. That's why all these other chains are shut down. We're about the individual person, their uniqueness, what they bring in. And that's
exactly it. It's like with my store, it's, do I carry good products and everything, and stuff that corporate does, and obviously stuff that I brought in myself. But it's me. They know it's me. They trust me. I'll have people that come out, when I leave here, technically I have today off, but I got to go in there because one of my friends wants to go in and they only want me. So it's that trust, that, things of that nature, you are the intangible part. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, you could have the greatest products in the world, but if you can't convey that, you can't do anything, because you understand most people in nutrition, they understand nutrition is important. Pre-workouts are cool. All these things, they get that part, but they don't understand why, what it's doing, what differentiates these, why you should take this one and not this one, why you should time it this time. That's where you come in. That's where your personality comes in, and that's where your vibe comes in. So you got to make it your own. It's cool to have that umbrella from Rexius, and people know the name, they know the brand. You've built a brand, so people know this stuff. But it's got to be you. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're just another. That's been my thing. Is I want to differentiate that I'm not corporate. It's got to be me. So you just have to double down on stuff like that, so people understand you are that intangible part.
Yeah, I think as the company moves forward over the next couple of years, we're gonna be significant. We really are significantly more franchises than corporate-owned stores with the move we've made the last 2 or 3 years. And I think in the next 2 or 3, it's going to only increase, honestly, because I have zero intentions of opening another corporate store ever. I just don't. For us, we had 90-some, 96, 98 W-2s last year between Rexius and Iron Heaven gyms. And they all assumed that Brittany was really concerned about their personal social schedule. She's fucking not. So, it was a nightmare. You can touch on that more than I can, but
I was just going to ask how, now that you have employees as a business owner, how that has changed.
Now I understand because obviously when you start a business, or at least this is what you should do. Some people don't do this, but enjoy being married to it. Yes. You're going to be there a lot. So that's why when it becomes marriages or significant other, that's why, you have your adage, behind every great man, there's a good woman, or, whatever adage there is. I was blessed because my wife, like, she gets upset because I'm gone a lot, but like she understands, like, so you're tethered to it. But what I was trying to get to was, like, I remember how you used to always be like, well, I want to get these people hours and stuff like that. There's a compassion level. Like, I do the same thing. Like, I could easily work, but like I got lucky. I have this kid from Gretna, named Mark. He's awesome. He's he's a senior in high school. Like, sometimes the younger generation doesn't have a severe work ethic, or at least one that matches ours.
98%.
Yes.
But somehow I pluck the one that does. He works hard. He's asked questions all the time. Like, anytime a shift needs covered, like, he's about it. Like, he messaged me before I even ask anything.
He's us at that age.
Yeah, like, it's because he even told me, like, he told me when he was on spring break, hey, if you need me during the day, like, I was gonna ask him what college he was gonna go to, like, fingers crossed, UNO. But he actually told me before, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Lincoln, but I was wondering if I could, on breaks and stuff like that, still work here. I was like, absolutely. I was like, dude, honestly, I was hoping you're staying in Omaha. And he was like, well, I was going to go to Creighton, but I got a full ride at Lincoln. And I was like, I get it, but but no, I got lucky with that regard. So, like, I'm lucky there. And then, of course, me and Merritt are best friends. So she covers some stuff too, and which is really good because she understands how I work. So I can trust everything in her hands.
Yeah.
I've been lucky staff wise with the people that I have, and it's very minimal. I like it minimal.
Yeah.
So that's where I have no desire to have a giant staff and watch what you deal with. Because I know the headache it could have.
Oh, yeah.
I've started doing my schedules. I try to get it done like a month out.
Yeah.
But I'm only dealing with like 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
So it's not super horrible, but I just don't want that juggling act.
It's the tough thing because we have empathy and we have compassion for people and we understand. And there's quite a few times over the last couple of years where I had to step in and we were getting taken advantage of course. And it's that big, and I believe everyone's story until you don't. I mean, you have my trust inherently when I first meet you. It's your job to keep it, and that same with respect. And people are like, hey, we can't give this girl hours because my buddy here needs that check. Okay, my job, and I finally stepped in. I'm like, and this girl was doing a phenomenal job, right? And but she wasn't in the inner circle. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like, and we had to step in. I go, my job is not to guarantee you a check. My job is to run a successful business as profitably and successfully as possible, reaching the most amount of customers and retaining the most amount of customer retention by building the brand. So I pay you as a reward for a job well done. I do not pay you so you can make the car payment for the car you couldn't afford that you bought. That is a you problem. And it really has, and I'm trying to make sure it doesn't ruin my empathy, it doesn't ruin my compassion. But after so many years, it's hard not to kind of at least change your view. Now, it's kept me fresh, but it also, at the same point, because of the employees, it's made me a better dad, a better parent.
Yeah.
Because my kids are like, well, I want this. Go fucking earn it. I think because I've been dad to so many employees for so many years that by the time my kids are growing up now, they're like, this isn't fair. I'm like, yeah, I know. You think you're going to talk me into some shit, but there isn't a single thing you're going to run past me that hasn't been ran past us about 100 times. And that's why we sold Norfolk, which actually was the easiest run store ever. I had the same staff for like 5 years.
I was going to say, Norfolk schedule
was simple,
easy.
But I had such an awesome manager that, I mean, in watching Josh do what he's done the last year and a half in Norfolk has been phenomenal to witness, honestly. And I'm just glad that you gave it to a local guy. And honestly, it's a long 2-hour drive, and I didn't want to go there as often.
Maybe it was just my perception. I don't know if other people have this perception. Like, you always see these business owners and you see these entrepreneurs, you see all this stuff. You're like, wow. I like to associate it as when you grew up, you thought your parents had it together. They knew everything.
Yeah. Then you grow up.
And then you get to your 30s and stuff, and you realize, like, oh no, they were just figuring it out too. It just, I'm just still here to breathe. Yeah. So it's so like that is being a business owner. You see all these people are like, oh man, they have such a business mind, and like, of course, yes, to a level you do.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you just think they're this like superior being, but then you realize, like, no, it's just a lot of figuring it out, and then as soon as you figure it out, then you just kind of go from there. So I had the drive, but now it's just learning how to be a business owner. So now then you like use your network and stuff like that. So Ashley and I bounce stuff off each other. If I need any help, I ask you, like, how should I handle this? So it's kind of nice. Yeah.
Well, no, and that's the thing. And I had that with another set of franchisees, and they just kept trying to find a gimmick, an easy way, a marketing thing that existed that doesn't exist. I told them, like, I finally had to sit down. This happened with a couple of franchisees. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I'm your business partner. I'm here to make sure you make money. I don't get paid if you don't get paid. That's why opening a Rexius franchise is so damn cheap. It's because then that's my commitment to saying, hey, I'm literally not going to make jack shit. You're going to ruin my reputation if you go under. And I'm not going to sell more franchises if that happens. So this is how risky it is. This is why a lot of franchises charge $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, and ours is like $45K, and you're open the door. That's everything, you know. And I'm like, I go, my name's on the door. It's not an ego thing. Just fucking listen.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a free check. There's no such thing as passive income, as an idea that needs to get deleted out of our vocabulary in the United States of America. Doesn't exist. Doesn't exist. Does not fucking exist unless you are a trust fund, baby. I don't know any, so I'm assuming maybe they have some passive income, but I don't. And I'm like, just it's relationships. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be you. And one of them's like, I can't talk like you do on the videos and stuff. I said, fucking no. I mean, you don't have to. So do you. I mean, people like you, right? Well, yeah. Your friends like you? Yeah. Okay, to be you, just multiply it. I mean, and always someone else. It's not rocket science. You know, everyone's got their own personality, their own thing, and you're trying to find an easy way around shit. No. And you can find the guys the franchisees who do successful relationship building. It's the only thing that's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
Is relationship building. That's it. It's not rocket science. Take the time to get to know people. Be a fiduciary of nutrition. Care more about their long-term health and success and goals than your short-term profit, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know? That's why I love, and it makes it really easy. Like just even like Rexius, like philosophy at the core is always, it was never about ticket price. It was never about ticket sales. I still talk people out of a lot of things, actually. Like, yeah, the business owner is like, oh, I could easily make this money, but like, no, I want them long-term. I want them to trust me. Like,
and you want their
they're not a dollar sign to me. I mean, yeah, you got to run a business, but the same token, like these are people.
Yeah.
And like, I want them to feel good. Like I remember those feelings when you left Complete Nutrition, when you're like, oh my God, I just spent $300. And I don't even know like what just happened. Like I came in here, I wanted a protein, and now I'm like $300 less. But I think I made friends with Kyle, the super bro in there, because apparently he likes everything that I do. What are the odds of that, huh? But I don't want anybody to ever have that feeling. I don't want that to ever be a case. Like, I will tell you exactly like what I think you like. I'll give you my honest opinion. Yeah. And I've brought in lower stimulant pre-workouts because I think the market is overstimulated.
I agree.
And people need to stop. And I'm in an area where there's a lot of high schools right by me.
Yeah.
So I deal with like high school kids all the time, and I have to explain them like, and I get it. I was roped into the muscle and fitness and stuff like that. Like I owned almost every Muscle Tech, every BSN product, because especially when BSN signed Triple H, game over. Well, it's working for him. It's got to work for me, right?
Absolutely.
As I'm wolfing down McDonald's on the side too. But so I feel I have a responsibility to these high school kids to bring in alternatives of what's going to be good for them long term. Yeah. Because let's call a spade. Kids make stupid decisions, and they're easily influenced. Well, so that's my responsibility, as far as I'm concerned, to not sell you this 500 milligram caffeine pre-workout.
Yeah.
How about this one? Because there's mental focus agents in there. You don't need a caffeine bomb. Like
kids are stupid.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy premise.
Two words. Tide Pods. All right, continue.
So I truly feel I have this responsibility to steer them that way, because like everybody, I remember being in their shoes. I was the same way.
I would have taken anything possible I thought was going to get me there.
Yes.
I mean, in hindsight, I mean, this ages me. There was internet, but it was dial-up. It was AOL. It took 20 years to open up one page. Yeah, that's the sound.
And then somebody always called and kicked you off.
And so, yeah, I'm like, God damn it, Grandma. Anyways, they got these Andro things. This is back in like the 90s, right? And I'm like trying to look up side effects, and it's taking too long. Fuck it. Work for Mark McGuire. Let's go. And it did. Like I did. And looking back now, I'm like, I don't know how I'm still here.
Oh, I'm the same way.
I took so much dumb shit.
And I'll say right now, like in high school, because I mean, Complete was known for their pro hormones. Mm-hmm. Complete was rocking pro hormones. They were like molecules from like full blown gear.
Oh yeah.
I remember 17 Pharaoh was the strongest one out there.
5 decades.
Yeah, you had this super crazy commercial, and then my favorite.
You gained more than 27 pounds in 1 week. Please see your doctor to adjust your dose.
And every dude out there was like 27 pounds in a week. Yeah, I ain't telling nobody if that happens. No. Like
it was brilliant marketing.
I will not adjust that dosage. But anyway,
it's better than 27. 54.
And then you're broke, so you go in, you buy this, and like you absolutely need a liver support, but I'm broke. Bro, you don't care. He's like, oh no, you'll be fine.
Drink extra water.
Yeah, like it's like now hindsight, looking back on these things, you're just like, holy crap.
Oh, so think about when I
waged war on my liver.
Think about it when I started Rexius, 2010.
Yeah,
it's their heyday here. They're spending $60,000 to $80,000 a month in the metro market area on radio ads. $300, $400, $500 weight loss systems, $200 pro hormones, and so I opened my little shop, and he goes, "You're nuts." I go, "Oh no." Like, and it was just, I will say this is one of those I had long sight. I was like, it's a failed model. They're already going down because they're spending more on radio ads than they were before. They were already making all this money. Why would they need to do that? And my thought was this.
It was built on a hollow base.
My little brother went and bought, he was in high school, and they got the ads, right? And so they go to the Complete, my mom, and I wasn't in the industry at the time. I was in my break. And they dropped like $90 on a Crealkaline pill bottle, $200 on a weight gainer powder. Of course, my dad pops in and starts to bitch. He goes, "I remember it was being expensive. We were at GNC." I'm like, "Because you got sold a bunch of bullshit." No, I told him they can't ever go there again. I go, "Listen, I got a guy," and I had a guy. I said, I'm shipping to your house. Crealkaline was $25. Weight gainer was $45. Small shop dude I knew from back in the day. Sent it to him, so I was paying for it, And it's my little brother, it's my baby brother's in high school, and
I'm doing the same thing with my nephew right now.
Exactly, right. And all of a sudden, I heard this from like a couple people, like, "Hey man, like you were in this business," because I was fully entrenched in this business in college. Like, this is what I was going to do. This was my business plan. Just didn't have any fucking money. Shocker! I had like $8 to my name. And so people kept calling me. This is what's happening. So I'm like, I should start wholesaling some of this shit. And so I knew guys who worked for BSN and Optimum and a few and Diamond Ties at the time because I knew them from the industry. And I was like, okay, I started wholesaling crap. I'm just to buddies, because I was making all that side money in college, delivering to Wayne State College, $5 a delivery, making a killing, People spending all their extra tuition checks,
the refund checks.
Yeah, I'm like, give you a real good deal. Anyways, and then that's where, like in 2010, when I decided to open it, I was like, there's a failed model here. They were all based, and this is the problem. So I know a lot of guys in the supplement industry watch this podcast because it's obviously our main business. And if you're doing the same thing, and I'm seeing it happen in one of our other markets we compete up north of here, about an hour and a half, for those of you who want to pull out a map, where it's their brand, it's constant radio ads, it's expensive, it's overpriced, and it will fall through. Mm-hmm. And not only are you going to lose those customers from buying that product because it's too expensive, you're going to piss them off because you alienated them for price based on marketing. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. And that's where we come in and sweep on up. Because guess
Nobody
what?
wants to feel had. That's exactly what what they're doing.
I think the people feel had, and they'll never go in there again because you've now pissed them off. And the fact that store of mine up there had a 75% increase January, February, and 137% increase in March. Guys, and I said it when I got that store 3 years ago. I was like, watch it, click. And it does. It just clicks. And when people are like, okay, that's enough. And now they won't go anywhere near it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't have freaking ESP. I just already did it once. I watched it between 2010 and 2015 as the demise of Complete happened. No. And it wasn't their staff, wasn't anything like that. It was just it was just their business structure. Yeah. Just what it was based on: money today, worry about tomorrow.
It wasn't built. Built for long term.
And there's nothing wrong with that kind of thought process with certain things in life about when it comes to anxiety or stuff like that. But with business, no. Like, what happens in 20 years? What happens in 10 years? The amount of franchisees that went belly up, that's holding the buck, paying off a loan for the next 10, 15 years. Bankrupting families. I couldn't sleep at night if I did that shit. That's just me.
Yeah, that was probably the thing about watching all that happen. Just knowing that how many people we used to train with. How many people we used to train with that we saw at the gym. Yeah. One of our good friends, Eric, and his wife, and they gave him the spiel hard. And I pulled him aside. I already started Rexius. I wasn't franchising yet. And it was like 2012. I pulled him aside. I go, I'm telling you right now. He goes, I know they're coming. I go, it's not that, dude. Like, I got mad love for you and your family and your daughters. Do not do this. Mm-hmm. Trust me, that thing goes belly up in 3. And I remember him, we pull us aside in a drink or whatever. He goes, you saved my family like $200,000. I go, I saved your family closer to 300 actually, but that's fine. Remember me at Christmas? Because it did. They all went belly up. The same stores he was buying shut down after somebody else lost $200,000. We know a friend of ours who did $400,000 in 3 months in Florida and had to just pull the plug in the lawsuits. And I just didn't want anything to do with that. Inflated numbers and faulty business practices.
It's just based on a false model. Like it's a constant new customer basis. And I just think that, yes, they make more money up front. They absolutely did. You bet your ass. There was ones making $1 million in a year. It's great. And 5 years later, they were closing their doors, paying out leases, trying to pay off landlords and vendors. Mine's a slower gain, absolutely.
Yep.
Franchisees now, compared to ones I had like starting 8 years ago, I mean, first months are double, triple sometimes what we used to do, and that's just based on the brand building. But you know, that it's fun for me watching what you're doing, and I know what the process brings because I've done this for so long. And the way you're doing it, and you're doing it correct, you become an integral part of the community. You have roots set down. I mean, and other than like you have like one of the most likable wives on the planet.
Yeah, that really helps.
It does. I mean, and collagen. So,
Collagen.
she's the best salesperson
Speaking
ever.
of which, they sent me some samples. And she goes, "Did they send you collagen?"
Yeah.
So she's still embracing it. So,
All right, I have to tell the story. So we're in Las Vegas. I blame Chad.
this is probably my favorite
We had the
stories.
Boozy Olympia. It's Friday night, first day success. We're gonna go out and get some drinks. Something happened that pissed me off. I can't remember what it was. I think a former employee made some schneid comment on social media, and Cody and Chad are like, just go get a drink. And we're on Fremont Street. So anyone who's been to Fremont Street in Vegas knows what they know.
It's my favorite place.
It's my favorite place. And they go, so walk up there. I'm like, just give me a Red Bull vodka. The guy proceeds to pour a glass the size of Cody's cup, 32 ounces, all vodka. Puts like a half a can Red Bull. He goes, you want the extra?
I just love the shot pour. Like he was measuring it out, but the shot pour was continuously
Go,
tilted at all
go.
times, so it's just running in and back out into your cup.
And I go, how much? He's like, $19. I go,
Yeah.
Guffey, come over here. Get a drink.
I walked over and they had my favorite Crown Peach. I was like, oh, it's going to be a night.
And then Chad proceeds to teach us how to play blackjack in Vegas. And Chad is the most excitable person when it comes to card playing games that I have ever seen. Chad's loud. Chad's excited. Next thing, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I'm putting $25 down. And it was nice in Fremont Street because it's a way lower blind. Cody goes, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
I know I'm trying to get to 21. That's roughly about my extent of it.
Chad's getting excited. Next thing you know, Chad goes, holy shit, it's 4:30. As an AM, we have to meet John Meadows and his business partners at 7 a.m. at a hotel outside the Olympia. And a lot of you guys have seen John Meadows on the podcast. John Meadows is one of the guys I respect most in this world. Great man, great family man, genuine, good person. And I don't think John drinks. I don't know. I'm assuming. And it's just one of those where I feel like, I'm like,
He probably has a glass of red wine every like third day, maybe.
Maybe just to dry him out a little more. Just to dry him out and see a few extra veins. And John, it's got to be something around bodybuilding. Yeah. But it's the greatest guy, and I kind of feel like I'm like, guy's my freaking hero, because he's like 9 years older than me and looks 10 times better than I do. So, anyways, we go to meet him at the next. We go home. We go to the hotel, take 2 showers quick. We're going. So it's us 3 and your wife. Roll in. I realize Callie is still drunk. I've hit hangover stage.
Let's just say my wife is the party.
And so
times.
We're getting food. Always. They sit down. They go, "You guys want anything to drink?" I'm like, "Coffee." Brittany's like, "Coffee." Cody's like, "Coffee." Callie goes, "I'll take a bloody, make it a double." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh shit, no, no." She's still buzzed. And the business partner goes, "Oh, it's that kind of party. Screwdrivers, let's go." I'm like,
so she's straight icebreaker.
Yeah.
Icebreakers.
We're trying to be super professional, and she is who she is.
Yep.
Unapologetically her,
awesome.
and it turned into this whole thing, and then and that's where collagen came from.
Yeah, so she.
I'm still waiting to hear how this is my fault.
Because you kept us out the night.
You should be thanking me.
Yeah.
See, right?
I can't say anything against that. That's
Pretty
true.
sure I'm still hungover from that trip.
That was fun. Yeah, so basically his business partner asked us, and like my wife's not in the supplement industry. Like she's just might as well be a hospitality. She's actually a real estate agent, but like, she might as well be the hospitality part. Like she's just the fun, like everybody feels good around her, like everything. She doesn't understand supplements, and that's fine. One business partner is like, "Is there any products you guys would like to see?" She's super basic, so he immediately goes to collagen, and she goes, "You need to make a collagen product." And he's like, "Oh, like the protein or whatever." She goes, "No, collagen." And I just sit there and I'm like, "Oh, sweetie."
And so when we walk
out, I look at her, I go, "Hey, hon, collagen is a protein." And then she goes, "Well, how would I know that?" I was like, "Right." and this is the greatest story forever. So yeah,
I have told this story at least 100
times. That's why I would crack
Every
up
time
when
I
I
see
opened the granite
collagen.
stuff for the samples they sent me, and Jamie skip a beat. She's like, "Is there collagen in there?"
This is the funniest thing because we go to Vegas a lot. Her and I do, and we're saying like that has to be repeated.
Yes.
You and your wife, Chad, us, let's go. Bring Kelly, and
Definitely.
yeah, we're playing blackjack. I'm getting my $19.
Dude, I could live on Fremont Street. That was my favorite. That was my
Now there's a
This is
super nice hotel called Circa.
It's huge, biggest sports bet I've ever seen.
They say June 1st. Like as of today or yesterday, they announced June 1st. Everything is fully open.
Trust me,
Open.
it's
Oh,
already open.
It was pretty open.
It was
last
open
time we
in
were there.
March. There were no hardly any
I
restrictions.
can
at all.
promise you, we're not getting a Long Island from the Robot Bar.
That is the worst shit ever. I mean, side note, not business. If you go to the Robot Bar, do not order their $25 Long Island iced tea because it's horrible.
I mean, at least
But-
It's
but-
called
money's
Robot
worth.
Bar, guys.
But but so Guffey goes, "This is terrible. It's pure alcohol." He goes, "But we paid $25, so we're going to
waste
have."
$25.
He goes, "We're having going 25."
Did a robot make
we're
it?
going halvesies
Yes.
on these.
Yeah.
So you and I kept thinking it's your turn.
Actually, let's clarify. My wife ordered it. She thought it was terrible. Then took my drink, and somehow I wound up with it.
Yes.
that seems more plausible.
That's
There are
exactly-
some
that's
things.
exactly what happened.
There are some things robots should not do: drive cars, fly planes, and make cocktails.
Yes, cocktails
Because
especially.
none of the drinks were good.
no,
Not a single one.
it's just overpriced. But let me watch a robot arm make it.
That's
Which
I mean, gosh, Robot just made this. Like,
just I could have just hopped back there and moved ET out of the way and just done my thing. So, but anyways, so back to the point. I mean, so I'm excited because I know in 1 year from now you're minimally going to be increased by 50% in gross sales than what you are right now. I've watched this happen for so many years. People who are doing it right, setting the right foundation, especially in this business, I've done it for so long, and I ever hate telling people that. I tell them, like, you're going to have big leaps at 6 and 12 and 18 months. And I've been in sales in other industries. It's true there as well. When I was in full commission sales on the road, I said there are leaps at 6, 12, and 18 months. There's another one at 3 years where you really get the recognition as the professional in whatever you're doing. And that's that 3-year mark. And I never want to tell people like, hey, it's going to be this much or that much, because I don't want them just sitting around waiting, counting the money kind of thing. But it's almost verbatim every time. And it's fun to watch. And watching guys that have been doing these sales, watching Josh break the store record. He beat Shane and I. We ever did, which kind of bruises my ego a little bit, not gonna lie. And just watching that kind of stuff is so much fun for me. And that's why, like we said, we're eventually going to sell Sioux City, and we might even sell Bellevue at some point in time, and just focus on our main 3 corporate, because there are so many franchises opening. And I want to make sure that when they have a question on sales taxes or what is collagen, I'm available for that phone call, and I want to make sure that we're all hands on deck, that we're able to be at every single major event they have, every showing they got, because then it's name on the door kind of thing, and it's fun, and it's a major switch, because like 5 years ago, I think it was 2017, 2016, I was like, we need more corporate stores, we need to build a bigger base. And this is one of those learning lessons. I'm like, I was just kind of looking how Complete did it and watching them fall down and watching what GNC was doing, and I was like, this is what we need to do. And I had to sit there like a year or 2 years later and kind of slowly readjust the plan. And if I looked at her, I go, I was dead wrong. Yeah. I screwed up. I done screwed up. And I'm always one to write a check that my body can't cash, get the warehouse, got this, got the staff in place, and then boom, nothing. And so I had to pay the piper. I mean, it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, and to be in the right position. I'm like, okay, like my ego, my bravado, my ambition put me in, and it was a lesson learned. It was a very expensive lesson learned, but where I was, where I'm like, what, I think that watching the owner operate, like, I never would have sold Norfolk. That was the second store I ever opened. Like, never going to happen. I need to own Kearney. I need to own Sioux City. And also I'm like, no. One gentle pushings from my wife of annoyance was helpful. But just watching it, and it's been so much fun to watch, because we even looked at when the whole Elkhorn West Dodge situation, do we take this over or not? And I remember he's at my house the next day. What if I buy it?
It was 1 hour after it all happened, because I was in charge of our social media, so I got everything first. Screenshot it, sent it over to you. I was like, hey, we have a fun night in front of us. Yeah. And then, it was probably within an hour. That's when I shot you that text. And you're like, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So then the next day, that's when we started hashing out and figure out what's what.
Anybody that remembers a situation, I won't bring it up, like, just so people know, that decision of what was wrong was immediate. There wasn't how do we get out of this? How do we not? There's right and wrong. My moral compass is very solid. It's not in question, and it's not negotiable. People are like, there could have been handled differently. There should have been more time. No, there's not. My moral compass is extremely strong.
And people that felt that way, I mean.
And I still get comments. I still people come at me all the time. I don't give a shit. Trust me, I'm responsible to only a few things. My faith in God, my wife, my kids, and businesses come after that. But that's next. And so the fact is that, in that order, like I care what my Savior thinks. I care what my wife thinks. I care what my business partners and my children think. I said, but other than that, no, I'm going to do me.
It circles back to, like we said, with being the intangible force, it's still the same premise. Like, it's still you.
Yep.
So it still has to be your call. It still has to be so for other people that jump in, I just think society in general, everybody always has an opinion of something. And it's usually coming from people who have never been in these situations.
I agree.
Which it's easy to armchair quarterback. You have nothing on the line. Like, it's easy to tell somebody I can sit there and yell at the NFL quarterback who's, wow, he's terrible.
Oh, no.
I can barely throw a football in my backyard, but I'm telling this dude he's terrible.
Nebraska football.
Yeah,
every year. I don't know why they don't just run the fucking option.
Like, that's the
just run the option. Work for Tommy Frazier back in '93. I was there.
Like, being here and being a Husker fan and stuff like that, I was not aware that there was so many
coaches,
Division I level coaches, just hanging out, just in one state. It's nuts.
If you go to any sports bar on a Saturday, there are 30 well qualified Division I coaches.
And they'll let you know.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
Like some of them are still rocking their letter jacket from 74.
We should just run the option. Hey, by the way, defensive ends nowadays, they're about 6'6" and they run a 4.40. Have fun running the option.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah. It's not how that works.
Me being me, when I'm at a sports bar, we do something, I'm like, I just bring it up. I'm like, don't you think you should run the option? Yeah, I've been saying that shit all day. You should tell your buddy about it. And then I'll walk away. And it's fun to just watch the shitstorm consume. It's fantastic. And you get the one guy, option was stupid. I'm like, West Coast offense, right? 4 receivers. That's what I'm saying. Tell your buddy over there. And I'll walk away. It's so much fun. It's like watching Jerry Springer live. It's letter jackets from 74 and 78. They're about to fight each other. And, one still got their class ring on. I'm like, you're 50, dude. Anyways, I don't know how we got on this.
I still think we need to have a podcast all dedicated to how to fix the Husker program.
No, listen. Kentrell and BK both they said they would come on for that one. I'm like, we will have
a podcast on that. There's going to be so much.
Have people message in. I can only see that, Chad.
Oh, there's going to be so much.
We should live stream questions on the thing, Chad.
Oh my! Just watch them come in. Just be like, I can't read that fast.
And it's just a comedy podcast, unbeknownst to everybody.
We're just laughing.
Yeah, I'm glad they're giving us a voice, and it's like,
actually. No, we're really not.
You're the joke.
You're giving us material, is what you're doing.
I got Brittany in the corner looking up. This dude's got a picture in his letter jacket from 20 years ago. This guy, pull up that comment. It'd be fantastic.
That's the tried and true. We had one state if coach put me in. It's always those guys.
Okay,
coaches didn't like me. Yeah, I'm sure that was it.
Yeah, they didn't want to win. They cared more about pissing you off. Yeah. So
it was a political play.
It was all politics.
It was so funny.
They paid off the refs. No refs give that much of a shit. Trust me.
Good old days.
Because your father-in-law refed a lot of the games.
Yeah, He loves stuff like that. When people blame the refs, like, he just laughs. He's
Listen,
like,
I will say
we do not care.
Listen, I've known Rich Rethwich for a long time. So is Chad. And no, Rich is going to tell you what was happening, what he thought about it, and didn't really give a shit if you liked it or not. But he'd do it with a smile on his face, almost to the point that it'd almost drive you more nuts. But he was good.
Still does it.
Yeah.
Coaches would be yelling, he'll just walk away from him. It's hilarious. He'll say something and just walk off. Yeah. So it's funny.
Well, I mean, in ending, honestly, like for us personally, just obviously being damn good friends with you and Callie and watching you guys do what you've done the last 5 months has been honestly an honor and a privilege. And we are beyond just honored to have you guys represent the Rexius brand in Elkhorn. And it's phenomenal. And it's always, I'm like, it's one of those almost jealousy things sometimes. I'm like, well, how come they're buying at Elkhorn? They have different stuff than you. Damn it, Guffey. Someone bitch. Like, find out what that is. Can we get it? It's just one, but that's the beautiful thing. I think we all sharpen each other.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing.
It really is. And it's not we push each other, but it's not like a competitive.
It's not a theft competitive business. Like
business.
I can't tell how many times I've called him. Hey, do you have this? Hey, I got this gal call and I told her that she's way closer to you.
Yep,
They didn't
and I've
know it
had
was
people
open.
come in. If I don't have it, I'll be like, I mean, corporate's going to have that. So
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that doesn't bother me a bit. I was like, hey, I had a web order from your town and take it off your royalties. Oh, sweet. She never would have known, but honest is honest. You know, this just is what it is, and it's so much fun watching it all. And I mean, I hate the fact that I'm the oldest person in the company, but you know, is Josh Cum older than me in Norfolk? I think Josh might be older than me.
Might be.
he might be.
You know what, Josh? If you watch this and you actually see this comment, I want you to message me. If you don't see this in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to know you don't really love me. Anyways, thank you so much for coming on. Rexius Nutrition West Dodge. Follow him on Instagram, Facebook, and then and also the Brixton Nash. We can't leave without discussing Brixton
I was
Nash.
actually just going to ask you, is he going to make an appearance at the new Rexius Nutrition in Elkhorn?
I mean, it'd be a little awkward if people walk in and I'm wearing tights, but
Let's be honest.
Hey,
It's not the first time.
I've got a really good commercial idea for you with Brixton
Yes.
Nash and Cody Guffey.
Yes.
yeah. So I knew inevitably that was going to be brought up. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard for Brixton Nash to make an appearance because
He's the asshole, isn't he?
he's kind of an asshole. He's
Well,
got an arrogance problem.
Let me put some in perspective for everyone watching. Starts a new business, been at 5 months. He's definitely dedicated to his craft with pro wrestling. And that I had to go run a show in South Dakota on Saturday, and I was bitching and pissing and moaning. Well, finding out that Cody had driven down in a bus with like 15 dudes
SUV.
to
So there's
Texas,
5 of us. Yeah.
wrestled on Friday night, correct?
Then we drove down. We left Thursday night at midnight. Drove through the night. This is old school, like independent wrestling life.
Yeah.
Drove through the night. Switched off whenever people got tired. Texas for a seminar with a couple guys that used to be in the WWE and stuff like that. And then did that. One of our guys got booked, so he worked the show. We stayed there. Drove out of Texas that night. Through the night, stopped at a truck stop at some point, like 3 o'clock in the morning, so because nobody could go any longer. So we had slept for like 3 hours. Somebody else jumped in the driver's seat, drove all the way up to South Dakota. We had a show booked up there. They're using us up there. Worked that one, then back to Omaha.
All while owning your own business in the first
All
5
on my
months.
own business.
See, and that's the whole thing. And I've had this post up. I've had these things up that what people think is hard work. It's hard work for them. Mm-hmm. It's not. I mean, you got to raise your standard. You got to see where your bar is. Mm-hmm. And you always say that no matter somebody out there is outworking you. And that was the thing that was always driven in my head. It drove me nuts for years because I get up at 6, and my old man would say to me, "Let's get up at 5:30." Son of a bitch. He's right. You know, and that was just me for years. Now I finally learned how to, you know, tune some of it, be okay with some of it because I'm getting old. But I like watching you do that, running your own business, scheduling all that stuff to go make 2 different trips, drive all that, come back, still be a husband, still be a dog father to a very.
Yeah, I'm that dog father.
You are that dog father.
So
come back to that, come back to work again, and that's my whole thing. It's like I watch some of these younger people who compete in bodybuilding take off a week to get ready for the show and recover from the show, and I'm like, God, you can really tell when somebody's an employee has vacation days versus an owner. Nothing wrong with that, but it's an owner. The asset, no matter what, you don't. There's no time. Time is a luxury you cannot afford.
That's like as an owner, like it's not a vacation day. It's like when I go to do these like wrestling things and stuff like that.
You're still checking your business.
I'm still checking my business. Like I'm paying somebody to be there. Like I'm not. I mean, obviously the day goes well. Clearly, that is like it's costing me money to go do these kind of things. But so you find that balance, and I'm still working on the balance. Like I think everybody inevitably will always work on finding the balance.
Well, you gotta find the balance. Like Meadows used to tell us, he'd take off half a Friday, fly in to weigh in, do a show, fly back, go back to work. And he was competing at the highest of levels, and it's just funny to me. And I think the difference between the younger generation where we're at right now, it's like, what's hard to you, what you envision in your mind versus what's actually hard are 2 completely different things. But also, and it's also an age thing, and because I have kids, I can't tell them what real hard work is. Yeah. They have to see it and experience for themselves.
You got to feel it and understand stuff like that. And I think people,
if you're working a job and you're working 40 hours a week or less, you are not working that much.
I genuinely feel guilty if I'm not putting in like 50 hours just in my shop alone. Yeah. Like I personal train, I wrestle, I do everything else. If I'm not putting in 50 hours in my shop, like I generally am like, It'd be a turd.
Oh yeah, that's the same thing.
Like, I still have like literally 20 to 30 hours commitments elsewhere.
And for your folks
and
listening,
be a husband,
and we forgot, he also personal trains clients like 3 to 4 days a week. On top,
Monday through Friday,
in
the morning.
on top of these other things. So your definition of hard work is your definition.
My standard, and I'm not tooting my own horn at all by any means. My standard day is like a slow day is 10 hours.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm up in the morning, like this when you saw me in the gym this morning. In order for me to make this podcast, we have a wrestling show tonight and everything. In order to make it there for the seminar before that and help us set up and all that stuff, I had to go work out at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I had clients at 6.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So I had to make that work, get that done, do my thing, and go about it. I'm probably gonna live on caffeine today, but America.
And I think that's the thing with the younger kids. You and I have had this conversation. Is it used to be that you try to have your parents' standard of living as soon as you're an adult, which is stupid because it took us 40 years to get to where we're at. Right now, it's even worse. And this is where the whole passive income shit comes in. Now you're trying to have the standard of living of the influencer that you follow, even more so than your parents. So now you're more impatient, you're more jaded, and you're more jealous than you ever were even 20 years ago. We all aspire to have the same materialistic lifestyle that we've left from our parents' house. And we realize, because we make stupid fucking mistakes at 24, 25, 26, credit cards, all those kind of things. We've all done it. God knows I did. And then some.
If you didn't, honestly, good on you.
25, bought a brand new car. That's a stupid fucking idea. Like, what do you mean it's worth less than I paid for it last week? I haven't made a payment yet. Oh, fuck me. All of a sudden, a year later, I put 80,000 miles on a year. I was 14,000 underneath the vehicle in the first year I owned it. I'm 27 years old. But that's the whole thing. And I think now it's prognosticated so much because of social media. Like, well, I'm going to be a millionaire by 30. If I hear that fucking statement one more time, I'm going to choke somebody.
What I can, and just my...
Swear to God.
And actually, it's really funny because my wife and I had date night the other night. We had a conversation, and she's really good at real estate. Like, she's awesome at it. It's the perfect business for that woman's personality and network, for that matter. And there was times that, like, it was paycheck to paycheck. It was stuff like that, like when she was going through real estate school and stuff like that. All these things, and where you're just grinding and stuff like that. And then, like right now, are we rich by any means? No. Are we comfortable? Yeah. But you just turn this corner. It's weird to explain. Like, you just keep plugging along, and then finally you just abruptly turn this corner. And you're like, oh, well, all my hard work got here. And I think everybody just wants that fast buck right now. They don't understand the work to build that base, because now inevitably, if anything happens, like any way you cut it, she's in real estate, bubble's going to burst. Yeah. It's inevitable.
Absolutely.
Like, it's known. Like, real estate agents know this. Like, it's going to happen at some point. We have to prepare for that.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. But because we've worked so hard to get to where we are, we understand when that does happen, how we'll adjust, how we'll shift, how we'll move, because we've understood hard work.
Well, yeah.
Whereas all these other people that I feel anyways want this fast dollar, and the moment it doesn't work, and the moment they're told no, they're like, well, new business venture.
I mean, it's funny to me because the guys and gals that we do well with in business, that we bring in as partners, or we elevate in the corporate, are the same kind of mentality. They didn't buy shit they couldn't afford. And I've said this before, and this has been said by a lot of people, and like I coined it, but people buy a lot of things they don't need to impress people that they don't really even like, just hoping those people like them, right? And so if the kid, and I mean kids, are driving a car that's obvious that they're not in the income bracket that has that car, I'm not doing business with you because you're going to be broke all the time. Mm-hmm. And the guys, it's funny, we're all of a sudden, as we elevate our incomes, we elevate and we work, we're into our 30s, we're into our 40s, and they finally get to buy that new truck, right? They finally get to buy that new vehicle that they probably had their eye on, maybe buying for 10, 15 years and just never had the financial wherewithal to get it. Those are the people. Because now it means something to them, and now you turn into like my dad, who parks at the back of the parking lot for a Ford F-150. That's nice, but it's not, it's not showroom. But for him, he's like, nobody's gonna debt my fucking truck, But it is, and that's the thing.
It's a pride because you
earned
so much
it.
Time, you earned it,
and you didn't spend it trying to make people think you were something you weren't. And I'm finding a lot of the younger people are doing more so than when we were kids. Way, way, way more so. And it's social media. I think it exacerbates it quite a bit, but that's also like you're willing to earn it. And that's the thing for us. Like, material is material. It is what it is. And I told her, I'm like, if shit hits the fan, then proverbial, as it happens, if economy takes it down, like, I'm not worried.
Yeah.
I know to work hard. I've spent my entire adult career building relationships. I'm good. And God knows, maybe
it's because you worked to get there, so you built that base.
Yeah, I'm not scared to work. I still work too much. Do I work too much? Yes, I absolutely do. Between my businesses and my wife's Pinterest wish list, you can ask Cody. My house.
It's not even the same house.
It's not. It's nuts.
It's literally not even the same house.
I can't wait. And on the 8th day, Dad got to rest. So
last night there was light.
I finally got lights on. Holler.
You didn't electrocute yourself, so that's cool.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for coming on, man. I hope that your story is inspirational. I know I'm talking to a lot of people right now who've looked at opening a franchise business. Some of them are, some of them other brands that, that it takes hard work, it takes dedication, and it takes caring more about your customer than yourself at times, because that's the long game. And I think you embody that better than anyone I know. So
the best advice I think I can honestly give anybody, and it's just where I'm at in general with everything, is because I had a hard, when I first bought the store, like it felt weird to me. Like, it's the imposter syndrome. And I do struggle with it.
Yeah.
It felt weird. Like, did I just get lucky? No, it's the tried and true. Like, the hard work sets you up to take advantage of situations.
You took the opportunity, it was in front of you.
I was willing to jump. I was willing to make the play and stuff like that. And I think I wish a lot more people would be this way. I'm not saying that's not the case for, some people. You've got to, like, just bite the bullet and go for it. Like, understand, like, bet on yourself. Like, you've always said that. Be it this or anything like that. Like, my professional wrestling, stuff like that. I've been a wrestling fan my entire life. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I don't want to wonder what if.
No.
So I did it. It's going pretty decent, stuff like that. So it's one of those things, like, you got to be willing to, like, if you have a dream, and this is going to sound so corny and cliche, but, like, if you have a dream, like, do not be scared. Just do it. Because
the only guarantee in life is that you don't try.
Well,
the only guarantee in life is that I'm guaranteed you won't get anything if you don't try. That's it. That's the only guarantee that there fucking is. And I've had the same thing. It doesn't mean just with entrepreneurship business on your own. Whatever it is, a job promotion. I mean, for you guys out there who are maybe just side hustle and whatever, if you don't go for it and make your intentions known and earn it, nothing's going to fall into your lap. I've had this happen the last couple of weeks from people who probably don't watch this podcast, and that's totally fine, that expected they were just next in line. For what? You earn the shit. Trust me, if you work hard for me and you earn it, I will seek you out. I will put you in a position to be paid well, partner in, whatever it be. Let your actions speak for themselves. That's it. And I had some people that were like, well, this person's kind of hurt because they didn't get, I go, I had no fucking idea that they even wanted it. How would I know? ESP?
You have to have the mentality that you won't be denied.
Yeah.
That if for whatever reason you're passed up, then that's on whoever passed you up, because you unturned every stone, every possibility. That it's just, you can't be denied.
And it should tell you that if you weren't even a thought in my mind, not only did you not make your intentions clear to me, you have not done the things to get my attention, which means you have not done the work. The reason you haven't had a conversation is because you don't have the results or the resume to back it up. Here's what I've done. Here are the things I'm trying to do. Here are the things I want to do.
And we had those conversations a handful of times when I was at corporate.
More than a handful of times. You were not, but that's what I respected about it. And I'm never going to blow smoke up somebody's ass. I'll be 100% up front, and I'll always do it out of niceness. Like, I get that I'm intimidating to some people, and you brought that up before. But once you get to know me, I'm not. Like, I'll be just real. I'm genuine. I want to see everyone have success, but you got to be willing to work. And
intimidation or not, though, are you willing to, put yourself out there?
Yeah.
Like,
have a conversation.
Is it going to be an awkward conversation? Yeah, maybe. But
it can be awkward.
What matters more to you?
If you've actually done the work and you can prove it, it's not an awkward conversation. Technically, you're in the driver's seat. But if I say, hey, okay, what have you done? And you can't list that for me.
If all you have is I've been here for X amount of time, all you have.
You've got nothing.
You have nothing.
You have nothing.
You have nothing. Time doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't. There's no seniority anymore.
I had this conversation with my brother, and he had done the work. He worked his ass off, and this is like a year ago. He was talking about moving up or changing this. I go, ask. I said, no great boss or owner worth his salt will ever want to reject an employee who wants more responsibility, wants a better opportunity to further their life for themselves and their career and their family. I said, if they are, they're an asshole. Get a new job.
It goes back to, coach didn't like me. It goes back to that same exact. Coach is going to willingly bench the better player. Like, it's not going to happen.
No,
you just weren't the better player.
No, Nebraska just sucks. Yeah. Anyways, sorry.
There is that.
I just did it for Chad, get his attention. Well, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate you. We love you guys, and we can't wait to see you the next year.